Anna, I'm moving up there this weekend.
Awesome. Everyone's moving up to Minnesota. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I will tell you this: if everything down here cedes from the union, I'm moving back.
Fair.
But
that's fair.
No, right? I mean, that's the best I can do, guys. Anyway, I was here. I think I will record it as well, because that gives me the option to put it on my podcast. Anna, have you listened to so you do like the podcast? It's coming out all right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, good. I try to come up with something every day. Usually it's some bullshit I'm going through myself. It's the only thing I can talk about. But
that's still trying to get subscribed. That's the only thing I have to say. I'm still trying to get subscribed to where it would come up on my podcast app.
It all happened kind of actually by accident. I wasn't planning on. I'd been toying with the idea of doing a podcast again, because when I had Northern Roots Radio, I had 100,000 listeners a month, and then when I had that other one, we'd have 20,000 unique hits a week.
Yeah.
And I had thought about it. Well, maybe but Patreon did a deal with Acast, and to be the exclusive blah, blah, blah of Patreon members. So I'm like, oh, I'll give it a shot. And I just did it. But we got somebody in Belgium, and we got somebody in Norway and Canada. And out of the blue, I guess it works, because I was looking at some stats that may not be interesting to y'all, but they're interesting to me, is that usually 90 to 98% of my sales come from the United States. 5% of my book sales are now from Germany, and 30-something% are now from Canada, which tickles the fuck out of me, because those first books I wrote, they suck. I've read them. I look back on them now and I'm like, damn, I wish somebody would have shut me up. But they got better, so I just kept trying. It's like that. I saw a guy. The only reason I kept trying was I saw it. I saw a motivational speaker talking to some high school kids at a low income inner city school. And it was like, you say you can't do math, do it for a year and then come tell me about it. I thought, you're on. I'll do it. I'll try. So I just kept trying and kept trying and kept trying. And it seems to work. But I do want to talk about gratitude, because like I say, this is the, next time we talk, we're all going to have food and food comas and family hangovers. We'll have emotional hangovers from dealing with family that want to argue about the dumbest shit imaginable. And it'll be all right. I personally am going to take Shanae and whisk her away to the most romantic kind of thing I can imagine, looking at Christmas lights and all these other things, putting smiles on the face of the children and eating her banana bread. But so I did a video with Sydney just a minute ago, and we were talking about the thought process. She sent me a message and asked me about, apparently Hellenes also have a fetch, but they call it a Agatha demon or something like that. I'm not sure, but it's personally selected by Zeus, and every person goes through life with their own little entities supporting them. And we have the fetch, and then of course, if that fails, we have the Disir, and then of course we have the land whites. There's no shortage of those small little spiritually based representations of that great opiate of the masses, hope. All right. So what is the only way I could begin to explain it was to deconstruct what's most prevalent now. And I don't care if it's a Patronus in Harry Potter, or the Force in Star Wars, or the Holy Ghost in the Great Comforter in Christianity. Throughout time and throughout the ages, there's been something there that people could believe in. And I know that's kind of a problematic word, but there's always, I mean, in every movie that we watch, the hero's beaten down and suffering is at the end of his rope and he can't go any further. There's somebody there to give him a hand. And I think we want spirituality or faith to be that kind of aspect, to give us a hand up when things are down, when we find ourselves, mostly through our own thought process, our own actions, to find ourselves at the bottom of the barrel, to be in a downtrodden situation, to be beaten up, cast aside, having lost or destroyed ourselves in public, or any number of things. There's always that idea, and it is prevalent throughout time and throughout mythologies and faiths around the world, irregardless of location or history, that there's something there to say, try one more time. And that's a real important thought. Not only because it's so prominent in our spirituality and faith, but because now it's beginning to really manifest in those other celebrations of ancient pagan faiths. Why is that? When we look at what's going on in society today, you can, if you have any question about what's going on in society, watch 30 Minutes of Red Ice or some of the other podcasters, and they will tell you, they will give you a whole litany of what's going on that could be wrong in our society and our world. Then take a look at how everybody, if they have a job, if they have any money, if they have anything going on in their life, if they have anything, people are dying, people are living, people are sick, people are without a job, people are isolated, people are alone at this time of year. And I'll be goddamn to go to hell if there ain't a bunch of jokers on there saying, y'all don't need to get together as families because it's dangerous. This is that time when some of the most prominent aspects of what we're trying to do with regards to the spirituality manifest themselves in the most important of ways. And sometimes it is just that little touch. Sometimes it is just that little hand that says, give it a try. Sometimes it is that little hand that reminds you you're not alone. I think if we could do any kind of justice or service to everything we're trying to do, it would be to help others cultivate that same belief. No, you're not alone. You're not in it by yourself. You're not in it all struggling up to your armpits in mud and grease and blood and tears and whatever else happens to be going on in your life, be it emotionally, spiritually, mentally, or physically. Everybody's dealing with something right now. And the most prominent thought process in the society is that all of a sudden we seem to be doing it by ourselves. And in the midst of all of that, I've said many times, our gods have thrown us a lifeline. Here's a little bit of hope. Make of it what you can. The best way for us to do that is to get out of our own way and quit sitting there focusing on all the negative things that's going on. And perhaps we should take a good look at what it means to be grateful. The knee-jerk reaction for that term is one that is a scar of Christianity. And yet, if you look throughout the lore and our spirituality, you see individuals that were very grateful for the opportunity to be successful, that were very grateful for the opportunity to offer sacrifice and their hard work and the best of what they could become to these gods that celebrated, that offered them, gave them the gifts with which they might celebrate life. I think sometimes we need to recondition our thought process to remember that fact. We are looking at the darkest time of the year. And the first thing we do is celebrate this year, the mothers. We celebrate all of those loving feminine spirits that held our hand, that brushed off a skint knee, that encouraged us, that wiped away the tears, that set us free, that celebrated us, that gave birth to us. That kind of thing, should we not be celebrating that on a daily basis? Should we not be employing an attitude that is one of gratitude? Yeah, it may have been fucked up in every bit of its wrapping, but you have life. You have the veil of your body itself. With that, there's nothing that can stop you. brings us back to the fetch. There's something there to encourage you, to push you forward, to help you out, that will help support how your main works within the realm of weird in your own life. That's what the fetch does. Cultivating an attitude of gratitude, which is such a fucking cliche term, it makes me want to vomit to say it, I think is essential to what we want to become, what we want this to be, what we expect it to manifest as in our lives, not only in our lives, but the lives of others around us. Because quite frankly, we're the only example for many people, we're going to be the only example of a pagan or heathen or Asatru that most people will ever see. Are we going to go bravely and gladly as a prince shall go till our day has come? Or are we going to lay here and focus on all the negative things that stop us from doing this or stop us from doing that, or the perception of victimhood or the cancel culture, any of the other fucking horse shit that threatens our way of life? Do we succumb to the battle before it's even happened? Or do we begin to be glad that we have life as it is? So in the darkest time of year, when we celebrate our mothers on this upcoming Mother's Night and the celebration of Yule, and you see these smiling children and all the gifts they're going to open up, are we going to be glad of it? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to get us through the dark times. That's what all of this is about. It may not necessarily be about the return of the sun, S-U-N, to the world. It may simply be about helping us deal with those long nights that threaten to steal our sanity, that make us feel alone in the cold, or any of the other things that would seemingly cripple an individual who cannot come to grips with where he is in this world. One solution to it: be glad. Be glad of being able to be alive. Everything we're dealing with in today's world right now is fucking temporary. Next week, it'll be something else. Next week, there'll be a new set of problems on the horizon for us to contend with. Be glad of it. And when we decide we don't like the problems that we have to contend with on a daily basis, we change our thought process. We stop thinking those thoughts. I said it earlier when I was talking. I'm amazed at the depth of my thought process because it is automatically geared towards the most negative thing that I can come up with, that I learned from my father and he learned from his father. You want to know why? Because I can fight that. I can be mad about that. And that's socially acceptable, isn't it? To be online bitching about shit, halfway mad about something. That doesn't move me forward in the world. But if you see people walking around with a smile on their face, number one, you got to worry about what they're up to. But number two, if you can get past that part of it, you might find somebody that is simply glad to be alive. I've seen people get on the bus so angry at the world that they live in, that they've created, that they're actually talking to themselves angry and just fuming in a conversation with their own dark thoughts. That is the most negative aspect of the ego that can arise. And I'm sure we've all seen people do it. Just walking down the streets, talking to themselves, bitching, take this job and shove it. Well, they should have understood and blah, blah, blah. Our gods have thrown us a lifeline to avoid that path in life. And it's a real simple way to grab a hold of it, is to be glad. Start being glad of where you are in this world. There's a lot of things I can be upset about. There's a lot of things right now I can be so angry about I could shit standing up. I want to focus on those bright and shining things in my life today that make me happy. I have found that if I do that even a little bit, the results are most magnificent in my life. And that is where the rubber meets the road. We can talk about the understanding of the depth of this heathen thought process and the heathen worldview and what book we've read and all these other things. But if it's not creating with our minds, if it's not creating within our thoughts, within our emotions, an idea that I finally feel good. I finally feel good about the way I live. I finally feel good about the strength of my own body. I finally feel good about the competence of my mind and the ability to do the things that are put in front of me. I finally feel good about my ability to love. All of these things, while they may not be as good as some other people, you know what? They're an improvement. And that's all success really ever can be counted as. It's my ability to improve every day. It's my ability to do a little bit better tomorrow than I did today with regards to everyone that I interact with. It ain't easy. But here we are. It's already dark outside. And I got a Sunday night. I get to sit here every Sunday night with friends and run my fucking mouth and feel good about it and laugh at myself like an idiot. I'm going to be glad. So, given that, I would like for each of you to take a turn and tell me what you're glad about. Any volunteers to go first? Good. Shay, why don't you tell us what you're glad about today?
Thank you, Bryan. Well, I'm glad to have my son beside me. He's been off taking risks, becoming a man, doing business, doing hard work, creating something for the future, for his future.
That's it.
I'm glad to have good friends, be here on Sunday nights, to have new friends with y'all, to be constantly learning. I have so much to learn in heathery. I don't even know where to begin. I feel like I don't know anything yet.
I don't either.
I probably don't. But I'm confident I'm in the right place.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Yes, good.
Anna Mae, what are you glad about? What are you glad about?
I'm glad for all the changes that happened in my life this year. Some of them were really rough. I'm glad that I had good friends to support me during those. I'm glad that I had, for instance, you reaching out to me when some of the stuff happened. I'm glad that we have a Hoff in Minnesota now. We're not having to beg and scrape for a place to honor our gods anymore. Like, it is ours. Like, this is our spot. This is where we honor our gods.
I'm gonna come check that out too.
Yeah, we're not having to bum around anymore. I mean, backyard bloats are awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love those. But this is specifically ours. And it feels so amazing. And you know what? I'm even glad to be driving up from Colorado to Minnesota right now.
Are you driving?
Yes.
I'll be driving tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, good. I mean, that's what it's all about. Matt, what are you glad about?
Oh, I'm glad that this year I was able to start a couple of businesses. And well, now that I'm walking again after busting my Achilles tendon up. So,
oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I'd be glad of that too, Matt. God dang, man. I didn't know you were down on. Well, you should have let me know, man.
It just happened, but I'm glad to be, walking around and at least, not with the damn knee scooter, or a cast on my foot, hopping around with that shit. I'm just, yeah, so.
The bent knee scooter. I love those things.
Yeah. It's especially fun when you're living out in a rural farm area and stuff, and then trying to move that shit around out there. So yeah.
Yeah, no, you never forget it. Well, good, man. I'm glad you're on the mend. I hope your businesses just succeed beyond your wildest dream this year.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Good. Renee, what are you glad about, hon?
Well, I'm really glad that because of you, I was able to finish a life's work of working on a cookbook for 20 years. And now it is
because
published.
of me, you did that all on your own, hon. That's yours. You celebrate that all on you. You did it. You sat down and did it. I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you. Well, I did have your support,
Yes.
and it enabled me to go ahead and feel like I could be successful with all the things you're always telling us that we do. We have the gods and the goddesses behind it. We have our ancestors. We have all of these people and all of these energies and runes and things that help us. And you keep reminding us, and those reminders help me to keep my focus and just keep plugging away. And you would tell me when I was like, okay, I don't think I can do this. No, just get back up, dust yourself off, give them hell. So I just kept doing it. And now I'm feeling like I'm getting a little closer, one step at a time, to getting the WordPress on the websites up. There's still a lot of work to do. I have another book signing, and it's an incredible amount of work, but I feel grateful that I even have all of these opportunities. I'm glad that I can be industrious. I'm glad that I can move towards self-reliance. This is a hard thing, but this is something you've been teaching us for a very long time. I take these teachings to heart, and I'm really grateful for the teachings that helped me to be successful this year. Thank you, Bryan.
You're welcome. Thank you. Jason, what are you glad of, buddy?
Me. But I got this woman in my life now that's amazing enough to make 3 trips between Colorado and Minnesota in a week. That's pretty awesome. Really,
I don't know
really
anything
glad
about that.
really glad about her baked goods that are cooking.
Good.
Pretty awesome. But no, just this year, the last 2 years, I'm just really glad to know that there's a lot of people. Shay was kind of saying, he may not know what direction he's going in or where he's going, but at least he knows he's in the right place. I 100% agree with that. I absolutely know I'm in the right place, because no matter how bad things got or how great they are, have my ASA family around and all that, people are there. They're always there for you. They're like family, and I'm just glad to have them around. Whether it's tough love or somebody give them their shirt off your back, or just there to share a horn and be like, Jay, you're awesome. I'm like, I'm just some guy. Like, no, Jay, you're awesome. I'm like, okay, use this. Give me another horn.
I got a mental image of Buddy Jesus right then. I don't know why.
No, but for real though, it feels great to have family anywhere you go. Definitely helps inspire the heart to go out and do great things. And as this one guy I know says, wake up every Monday, grab it by the nose, whoop his ass.
That's exactly right.
But just life just keeps getting better and better, and I'm just grateful, and a lot of that all comes from the same root. So I think it's going to be an outstanding year next year. I don't know what happened. It's going to be pretty awesome.
I hope there's an alien invasion. We all get to prove ourselves as warriors. Shanae, what do you got, babe?
I am glad that 2020 is almost over.
No shit.
What a shit show. I am glad that I have you and that we're starting on this new journey. I'm glad my kids are happy. Glad to be mobile and driving again. That took a lot of work, but I finally got my license back and it feels good.
Yay!
I'll be honest, after all the drawing I've done, I have mine for a while. I'm done. We'll take a break.
We do have a big adventure coming up, babe, and it's going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You know why?
Because you're Bryan Wilton.
No. I wasn't going to say that, but since you said it, No, we have a good thing going, babe. Anyway.
Yes, we do.
Make everybody want to vomit here pretty quick.
Uh-huh.
I'm happy for you guys.
Nothing wrong with educational detox. However you got to do it.
Yeah, it's I think, look at that just what's going on with all of this. It really is growing into something that everybody can feel special about. And that's the key thing to look across. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to look at who you're with and you're going to realize this is a good thing. And I get to do that. So I'm glad of that every time I get to do that, because that's exactly how I feel about it when I'm up in Minnesota with tonight. So having said all that, let's remember that tomorrow is Monday. It's the beginning of a holiday week, and it's going to be crazy as fuck. But if we can go in it and be glad, I bet every one of us have the best time of our lives. Celebrate those people you love. Give them a hug. And if they're toxic, you can love them at arm's length. You can say, you just stay over there. Social, we have built-in rule now for social distancing for the toxic people, so they can like stay the fuck away. So, I mean, we can be glad of that kind of thing coming into play. COVID, you understand?
In the yard with you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. How far is 6 feet? Never mind.
6 feet
Anyway.
is 6 feet.
Yeah, that's right. That's how deep the hole is. If them 12 motherfuckers are going to carry him away from me, it gets too close. At any rate, now that we've got this full frontal flanking maneuver on happiness, let's go ahead and wrap it up. I want all of y'all just have a wonderful week. Have a good time. Pay attention to the smiles on these children's faces and do what you can to make sure that you understand when these children look at us, because that is our future. When the ones you love look at you, that you realize I'm all they got. And if you live life in that matter, it'll always keep you grounded. And you might raise some of the kind of good people in this world that might change it and make it into something we all dream of. So go out there tomorrow, grab it by the nose and whip its ass. Have a good night, guys.
Yay. You
Bye,
too,
dude.
Brian. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Okay. All right, we're offline. Now we're